Welcome to Authors Revealed. I'm Becky Anderson. We are so thrilled. Two of our favorite middle grade authors are here. Those are those books that are great for that 4th grade reading level up to that 7th grade reading level. It's Kristen Kitcher and Kate Hannigan. Okay, welcome back to Anderson's in Naperville.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
No, it's great to have you here. And you're touring with 3 other middle grade authors. So tell me a little bit about how that's going with the tour and what it's like to, not just do an event by yourself, but to have 3 other compatriots doing it with you.
Yeah, this is great. It's really nice. There is no nicer population than the children's lit population. So
sure.
It's been really great. A lot of these people I meet people online through just different. We read reviews, we get excited about each other's books, and so this just happened that one of the authors does girl detective books as well.
Right.
So she and I were in communication about a couple different events and opportunities. So it's nice to connect.
Yeah, no, it's great and we've done those group YA events for so many years. They started back years ago at HarperCollins, did one called the Pitch Black Tour.
Oh,
so it was kind of the dark
Yeah.
YA, whether it was vampires or whatever.
Right.
But those started it, and we were one of the first stores to host one of those. But those have been so successful. We would
Sure.
love to see more of these middle grade
Yeah.
tours, because it's great for, you're already out there, but when there's somebody who has a debut novel, to be with a couple of other authors,
Yeah.
I think it just makes a great event.
It's really
for
fun.
you guys as well as the readers,
The readers, the people who
Yeah,
are consuming the
yeah,
books, right?
yeah.
You also get some mojo going when you're
Exactly.
talking and shared experiences, writing and putting a book together, all the
Yeah,
creative process.
yeah,
So it is fun to talk and hear their stories at the same time that you're sharing your own.
So you've had a busy year.
Yeah.
With 2 new books out, right? Just
Yes.
a little busy.
Yes.
Busy.
A little twitchy. I get a tick, a facial tick.
That's okay. Well, we'll try to if it happens. Okay. So the Detective's Assistant and the new book in the Cupcake Cousins.
Yeah,
book.
it's been really fun.
Yeah. So and they're very different. Very
Yes,
different. So
they
you
are
probably
very
feel like
different.
you have a dual personality.
Yes, it's a little split.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Detective's Assistants, because it's historical fiction. We're
Yeah.
talking during the Civil War, but
Yeah.
we have some real people in this book.
Yeah, this was really fun to write and research. So I came across the story of Kate Warren. She's America's first female detective.
right.
She was hired by Alan Pinkerton's detective agency in downtown Chicago in 1856. 1856 seems to be my year, because the whole way I stumbled on her was I was researching for another book about camels in the United States, 1856. I still want to bring that to publication at some point.
Okay.
It's fun to do all this research. Came across her and then just dropped everything and took off and ran with it. So it was very fun to write and research.
And Nell is such a great character. So is she you?
Somebody else has asked me that before too.
I know. Everybody always asks, or maybe a little bit of your kids or somebody that you know.
Yeah. I grew up in Oklahoma, and so I hear that book. When I would read it out loud, I have this little twang that comes out. It's the Oklahoma voice in my head. So she was really fun to write.
So a lot of research for this one, though,
Yeah,
probably.
it was
So,
a lot of
and I
research.
know you have a journalism background.
Yeah, newspapers.
Right. So that probably kicked in when you were doing it. So where did you go for the research, and what surprising things did you find out that were really?
The research was really fun because I was able to find Alan Pinkerton's books from the 1870s. And I think he sort of launched that whole the dime store novels, these detective books, because he was writing, looking back on his career. So, so I'm sure a lot of these stories are embellished on their own. They're not completely fact by fact. I think he was his own sort of, he enjoyed his creativity, I think. So that was really fun. And just learning about Chicago history, working, I wandered around the Chicago History Museum, things like that. One day I had to know whether if you're riding on a train in 1860, are you on upholstery and it's comfortable, or are you on hardwood? So I picked up the phone and I called one of the railroad museums, and I got some nice guy who explained to me what you would be sitting on.
But those are those little details you don't realize it, but it adds so much to
it was so much fun. Yeah, I read some of the research books were the history of underclothes, boarding houses in the 1800s. So it was a lot of fun. And then I read some fiction. I read Uncle Tom's Cabin. I'd never read that before, but just trying to find out the way language, cadence and things like that from that era.
Yeah,
So, it was fun.
so that journalist in you, was it hard to say, okay, I got to stop researching?
Yeah, you can research
because
to
you
death.
can go down that rabbit hole
Yes.
and not get out,
and never
right?
emerge. Yes.
So what made you stop and felt that you had enough? Because this book is so great because you're a Chicago area author,
Yeah.
and having kids know that there's Chicago in this book
Yeah.
and all of that. So when was the time to stop and sit down and write? And was that hard?
Well, I think because of the journalism background, I know deadlines and I respect them. And so just frankly, someone had to pry it from my hands, when deadline hit. But but it is, you're right, you can go down with research and never stop researching. Even when it was done and I had turned it in months later, I was thinking about something and I thought, I want to change something, I want to go back in. It's addictive.
So middle grade, how did you decide, when you decided, okay, I think I want to write for children. How did you decide that middle grade was the way to go and maybe not do, or even write for adults? It's always curious is it just the story that you had? It wasn't the point of writing for a particular age audience, or did you really want to write for that middle grade audience, that 8 to 10,
No,
11, 12
I realize I'm pretty plugged into that 10-year-old self. I
Okay.
really am. I
Well,
loved,
that's
I can say
great.
I grew up in a little suburb in Oklahoma, and I was out from morning to evening playing, kind of different than the way childhood is now.
Which I think is sad in some ways.
I wish it for my kids. They can get it on small vacations and things like
Yeah,
that. But
right.
I felt like I could tap into that kid pretty easily. But also, I remember in the early days of just being immersed with my own kids and trying to, do some stories. Picture books are hard, even though they look like the simplest type format.
No, they're very
32
difficult.
pages, less than, fewer than 500 words. I cannot crack the code on picture books, and so I would try, and then I finally pushed them away and thought maybe I need more than 500 words to tell a story. So
No,
middle
picture
grade
books.
worked out.
everybody thinks, oh, I can write a picture
Yes,
book. No,
in your
it's
sleep.
very
No,
difficult.
it's really hard.
Yeah, and finding the right words. And it's not that you're doing the illustrations. It's just you are the author, finding the right words.
It's economy of language. I think every word has to count.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
So how did you get Nell's voice in this? I mean, because you do voice very well for
thank
girls.
you.
But how do you channel that when you're and this is a girl we're talking the 1860s, we're not talking today's voice. So how do you channel a voice from that time period?
Well, I tried to really think about what her what her situation was, what sort of consequences she would have if she went down different paths. And just knowing that she had a tough life. So Anne of Green Gables is always in my mind because that's a good imprint.
Yeah.
When I read that book, she just imprinted on my mind as sense of humor. It sounds silly to say, but a cheerful outlook on life. She wanted to engage with things, and this character I just felt like did too, but also had been, it was scrappy. It was a scrappy kid.
No, she's a great character. So I want to know, and I ask this of all authors because it always fascinates me, the answers. Do you sit down to outline, or is it point you just sit down and write and you let the story take you?
I actually feel quite strongly about this because I was in a book critique group with some lovely authors who were pantsers, and I would sit there in the room stunned, like, pantsers being the fly by the seat of the pants, and I realized I'm a dyed-in-the-wool outliner. I feel like I really like the structure. Some people feel like if you outline too much, you lose creativity and things like that. I just feel like when I go on a bike ride, I kind of know where I'm going to end up.
Okay. So the new Cupcake Cousins.
Cupcake Cousins, totally different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So summer showers.
Yes.
Right. So this is the second in the series.
Yes.
And the two girls in these are cousins, and they're just fantastic cousins. But these are all based on their summer vacations.
Yes.
And it's got cooking and baking and recipes and lots of tasty
Being
things.
10 years old.
and losing grandma's heirloom in the batter or something that happens in the story.
Right.
So how was that, going from finishing the Texas Assistant to writing the Cupcake Cousins?
So the way the book publishing world is, it takes so long to see a book, you turn it in, and it takes a year to come out. So I had finished the first book. So the first thing I wrote was Cupcake Cousins, and then wound up during waiting for illustrations and things like that, jumping on the Kate Warren, the detective story. Yeah. But I really like setting things in our part of the world. I feel like Lake Michigan, that's where the book is set. It's a incredible landscape. It's a beautiful part of the country.
Yeah, it's
and I feel like a lot of books come out of New York and they feel like New York, and I just, you know, there's a whole rest of the world, you know, rest of the country.
Well, there's the third coast that we don't want to do the flyover.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
There's a lot of beautiful things
worthwhile
right here.
touching
That's
down
right
around here. So
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So I want to know the recipes that are in the book
Yeah.
that Delia and Willow are making in there.
Yeah.
Do you taste test these?
Oh,
or are
good
they
golly.
your original recipes
Yeah,
or
so
a family recipe? Or?
They're collections of everything. I test multiple times on my family. I mean, again and again. So my family, guinea pigs. In fact, I just finished book 3, which is going to be a Christmas theme, and that'll come out, you know, next Christmas. And I did a little caveat with my editor that everything's done, but I'm going to go over these recipes 2 and 3 more times, torturing my family over the summer. So yeah, so what I try to do is take whatever recipe that I'd like to include that seems to make sense, and then try to make it, strip it down as easy for kids as possible, because you know the audience is about 10 and 11 years old.
Right,
so
right. That's a perfect book for that. And this one has a gingerbread cousin recipe.
Yeah.
Gingerbread cookies.
Yeah, that you can make in your
to make
cousins.
which was really really fun. So and we won't tell what happens if they find the heirloom or not. So we won't
Yes,
have any
a
spoilers.
mystery.
So tell us a little about what's next, because I'm sure you have something else in the works here.
Beyond the Cupcake Cousins? Yeah, so I realized in doing the detective book that I love research. And so I wound up researching last summer the first woman that was on the ballot for president. Most people think it was Victoria Woodhull, but she was actually never on a ballot. She ran for president, but a woman named Belva Lockwood was the first woman to actually be on the ballot. So I just wound up signing a deal for 2 nonfiction picture books with Calkins Creek. Yeah, a really nice editor.
Oh, they do
there.
great nonfiction.
They do great.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm working on the second book, which I'm hoping to do. It's well, can I say it?
Yes. Yes.
The woman who was behind the first Museum of African American History in the United States. And she's a Chicagoan.
Yep.
So, the DuSable Museum.
I know, the DuSable Museum, which is an
Yeah.
absolutely incredible museum.
Dynamic woman.
So you went down the rabbit hole again on the research,
and
right?
I'm not done, because you can just never end with the research.
No,
so
that's
yes,
fantastic.
That's what I'm working on right now.
And we need more of that nonfiction, especially in that format that talk about women, like the strong women that really
I feel
made
like
a difference. Yeah.
That's really what makes me jump out of bed every morning and tear downstairs and get started. So
okay, I finished these interviews with a little quiz, so it's lightning round.
Okay.
So mostly book related, so whatever comes to you first.
Okay.
All right? Okay. So, favorite book as a child?
Island of the Blue Dolphins.
All right. Do you remember something from high school or college that has stayed with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I grew up a little Catholic girl, Irish Catholic girl, and somebody handed me The Mists of Avalon.
Oh.
Mind blown. So that was
I love that too.
Big book in my life. I just remembered that just turned everything around. So that was a fun read.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, do you a book maybe that maybe you absolutely loved, you could not tell enough people they had to read besides The Mist of Avalon? So
A Prayer for Owen Meany has been my favorite for a long time. In fact, I introduced a friend of mine to it after college, and she named her firstborn, her first son, Owen.
Anything you've read recently or that you're reading now that you have really loved?
Yeah, I am reading the Rosie Project right now and laughing out loud.
It is great.
It is a great
laugh out
book.
loud one.
And what did I just finish? Now I'm totally going blank. And I'm about to start the new Harper Lee.
Oh.
Just out of curiosity. I
I
kind
know,
of
I
have
know.
mixed feelings about the fact that
we're
we even have it.
We're having a midnight release thing at
Yeah?
the Tivoli Theater where we're showing the movie and everything. So I'm a little nervous
wow.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it makes you wonder if this should even exist. Like not exist,
Right.
but should it
And
be
if
out?
yeah. So that's
Is
the
it
question.
fair to her?
Let's
I don't
hope
know.
HarperCollins didn't make a mistake publishing this.
Yeah. So
We hope it's good.
Yes.
Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
yes.
All right. Well, Kate, thank you so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sitting
This
down
was
with
really
me.
fun.
What a great conversation with Chicagoland author Kate Hannigan about her 2 new books for middle grade readers. It's The Detective's Assistants, a great mystery, and her new book in the Cupcake Cousin series is called Summer Showers. Thanks for joining me on Authors Revealed.